Welcome to the JC League House. I'm up in the third floor bathroom to pick up where we left off in the last video about the third floor bathroom. If you recall that video, I left you with a concern about the tile in this area and would it have to come up. The reason being that there's a noticeable crack along the tile, which means that this whole corner of the room has settled and dropped down. And my concern was that there was a big water leak right in this area and that those floor joists were rotted and no longer supporting this weight. I struggled with what to do to not have to take that tile out to do that repair, and I thought about it really hard, and at one point I had an epiphany that this little area here that's going to be the shower, that I could take out the wood just in the area that's already exposed to access those floor joists and bring in new lumber and sister on to the damaged joist like we did in Uncle Lee's bedroom. To know if that was really a viable solution, I still needed to see the joists themselves before damaging anything here. So I needed to get in this small attic space that's behind this wall. It's a cramped, tight space that's just full of pipes and wires and things from when this bathroom was added on. I've squeezed myself in there a time or two with the piping in there, and there's just not room to turn around, much less stick your head up and crawl between these floor joists. So the first step is to get in there and get all of that stuff out of there. It can't be used. It's not up to code. It's unsafe. It leaks. Everything has to go anyway. So it was a good place to start. It really was a mess back there. It took a full day to cut out all the pipes, and this is only a portion of them. It didn't forebode well when we pulled out 6 or 7 boards like this. But there was no time to explore yet. The large cast iron plumbing vent going through the roof had to be removed. It was very difficult to cut because it was so close to the house. It won't twist? Yeah. Eventually, we had everyone up on the roof putting in their 2 cents as to what to do, while poor Ricardo struggled to get the pipe removed. I'll just get a cap for that and put on it. Once it was out, there were 2 big holes in the roof and rain clouds were gathering. I didn't have time to go to the hardware store and get something proper to patch the holes, so I had to improvise with what I could find in the house. An old disposable pie pan and a glass vase did the trick. I intended to replace them with something else. It's been over 2 months and I still haven't replaced them with a proper patch, and they work just fine, so it may stay like this until the roof gets redone on this side of the house. The next day, I was able to get in and really take a close look at what was going on under the bathroom. It's just the old lath. Okay, somehow, I'm going to lay down and get my head in there. Okay, all right. Fortunately, that area looked pretty good, but removing all the piping exposed a much bigger problem. Horrifying, actually. Let me show you what I found. This was not a space that could be filmed with a tripod, so my sister came along to help. Here's the thing. All right, back up a little bit. I gotta go in here.
How strong is that pole?
I got in here. Okay, well that's part of the problem. Is the strength of this pole. Hold on.
Are you sure you have to go in?
Yes, I have to go in.
Are you sure it's safe to go in?
No, that's the problem.
Well, if you go in, then I can't get you out.
I got out before. I'm a pole dancer.
Well, you've been needing to fundraise. That's one way to do it. Don't fall through the slats.
Okay. I'm in. Oh, look at our lighting. Here's our lighting department. First off,
these are rafters right here. They carry the weight of the roof down to the outside wall. This over here was originally the outside of the house before that room got added on. And so these rest on that outside wall. That outside wall is strong. It's got footings that holds up all this weight. These are floor joists under the third floor bathroom. They normally would have gone over and either rested on that wall or been tied into these rafter systems. But look what happened. Somebody came in and just cut them off to make room for the plumbing. And they're not just single rafters. Some of these are double. Here's a double, here's a double, here's a double. It didn't matter. They just cut them off. That would leave all of this kind of free floating. All that weight of the concrete added, the tile added, the tub, everything just hanging and cantilevered. So they knew they shouldn't do that. So they added a little bitty beam under here to hold these floor joists. The problem is it's hard for you to see, but it's really just two 2x4s laid together. That's not very strong. When you lay wood kind of with the wide direction up, there's a lot of flex in the wood. If they had done anything, they should have put two bolted together on end, but they didn't. It's just two 2x4s. And they set them on walls. They set them on the wall over here, and they set them on a wall, down here, this wall over here. The concept is okay if these were load-bearing walls and they could handle the weight of all of this massive structure that's being carried on these beams.
If I go down underneath to the second floor and look up at these 2x4s that they put together to rest these joists on, I can see that the bottom 2x4 isn't even a continuous piece of lumber. It's been cut in half right here in the middle of the span. So it's doing nothing to support these floor joists that we've been looking at. You can also see the two walls being spanned by that 2x4. And while I think one wall is load bearing, let me show you what supports the other wall.
To help take some of the weight off, they've come in and they've added these steel rods that bolt up into the roof rafter and go down to the second floor, basically suspending that second floor from these roof rafters. By putting this alleged beam in here, they've taken weight that should be on that outside wall and put it on this metal tie rod right here. So that's a tremendous amount of weight they have added to this one forged rod. Okay, here's a couple more of these tie rods, and I think this is interesting. This one has got some flex to it. This one is much more rigid. So all the weight is hanging on this one. This one's here, but I don't think any weight is actually being transferred to it because it's loose. If weight were on it, it should be pulled tight and you shouldn't be able to move it like this one. But it's cool. Let me show you the ends of these tie rods. They're hand forged eyes, and I wouldn't have noticed this, but an iron worker came in and he saw these and he was just blown away because of the fact that they're handmade. I'm standing on the second floor stair landing. You can see that this landing doesn't have anything below it. So there has to be a beam supporting this, running from that exterior wall all the way across to this wall, which is a load-bearing wall. That's a pretty wide span under there. It wasn't carrying a lot of weight, it was just carrying this landing area. But when they came in and added the bedroom on, they carved off part of the stair landing to make that entrance with the little dressing room, and they added some weight. So to help with that, they added those metal ties. Now the one that was in the little attic space that you saw was probably about right here. And it came up from the roof rafter all the way down, and it attaches somewhere on that beam. The other two you saw were maybe right in here, coming down. So that beam is partially suspended on those iron tie rods. So again, just to recap, that was not designed to carry the weight of the entire third floor, because by cutting those floor joists off, this beam is now carrying the weight of everything above us here in this area. So that is a big design no-no. In addition, you've got a lot of weight from this roof. Back here, you can see this roof joist that comes down. It would have carried the weight over to that wall, but they just cut a big section out. And there wasn't even a pipe there, I don't think. I think they just did it to crawl in and have access. Another problem is, this is not just any old roof rafter. If it was one of these, I wouldn't be as concerned. But this is actually the corner of a valley where the roof comes in. So you have the weight of those two roofs coming in to that single point and getting carried down and needing to get to that outside wall. So it's not just a single rafter, it's basically the weight of that whole valley. There was another beam back here, I'm going to grab the phone, that was helping with that weight, and it's this big 6x8 beam that went across to the outside wall. But you can see they just cut the end off of that too. So that's not there. The rafter's not there. Here's another double beam. They cut that through. All these things coming down to this juncture of the roof. So it's a tremendous amount of weight. The other thing they did, this is the new ceiling joist that they put in when they dropped the ceiling of the addition. And they put a hanger to suspend that ceiling joist from this existing joist, but that joist is cut off and doesn't go anywhere. So we have something hanging on something that's hanging. So it makes no sense whatsoever. So now we're going to have to spend some time and really map out what's happening here and look at all of the weight, where it's being carried right now, and figure out how to get this rebuilt properly to support all that weight of that bathroom. The good news is it's not the floor. This is the problem. The floor can stay. Yay, my tile is saved. Boo. This is going to be a bit of a nightmare. You can see it's tight and cramped working conditions. We're going to have to get some big, serious lumber up here somehow, get it slid underneath like we did in the floor of Uncle Lee's bedroom, and get it sistered to these floor joists and get that load carried back to the wall. And then we'll have to do something with this corner, this roof rafter, this beam. It's going into the chimney. There might be some masonry work to do in here, but this is going to be way more work than I thought it would be, and it'll have to be done first. The good news is we might be able to just remove all this drop ceiling, get some of the weight off there, set scaffolding up underneath, and maybe be able to stand and do this work instead of being in here cramped. It's a little tight.
I think I said in the servant stair video that I had 4 big structural issues still remaining in the house, and this attic mess is clearly one of them. We're going to be starting on the work in here, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next video I'll be showing you is that work, or at least the first phase of the work in this attic. And even when that work is done, there's always more. If you're new to the channel, consider starting at the beginning with the Season 1 playlist. Things will make a lot more sense going forward. And remember to check out the League-Kempner House on Instagram and Facebook for additional updates and news. And visit our website at league-kempnerhouse.org for ways to donate to this restoration effort. As always, we appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you back as the work continues to save this incredible house here in Galveston, Texas.